I'm lucky enough to live near some of the best amusement parks in the entire United States. I've got Kings Island, less than an hour away, arguably the best park in the world for a coaster enthusiast in Cedar Point, just a couple hours drive north, and then there's Dollywood, Holiday World, even Kentucky Kingdom, all within a day's drive or so. There are a lot of parks I'd like to visit though that would take much more doing in order to get to. In this video, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 bucket list theme and amusement parks. While there are still a ton of US parks I've yet to visit, the one thing all of the parks on this list will have in common is none of them are located on my home continent of North America. Even though the only park I've been to on the West Coast, for example, is Knott's Berry Farm, I know that I could plan a trip to Magic Mountain and it wouldn't necessarily be cheap, but it's totally doable with a little bit of planning and a little fuss. So I don't really consider that a bucket list park for me. Making it all the way to Japan though, now there's something you have to put a lot more planning and a lot more cash into. Keep in mind, this is not a top 10 list of parks I expect to be the best outside the US, although I do think some of the parks on this list will be the best parks outside the US for me. All of these are places that I just feel drawn to for one reason or another. So there's a chance you've been to some of these parks and didn't think they were that great, and that's okay, no big deal. But these are all places that for one reason or another, I hope to get to someday. Also, keep in mind that obviously I've never been to any of these, so while I tried to rank these in general order of my desire to visit them, the rankings really aren't necessarily all that important here. So with that, let's get into it. To start off the list, we have Effteling at number 10 in the Netherlands. While this park doesn't seem to have much on offer as far as coasters go, Effteling looks like one of the most beautiful parks I have ever seen. It has this kind of whimsical vibe to it that I'm really drawn to. It's really well done too. If you were going to build a park themed to fairy tales and things of that nature, it would be really easy to do it in an off-putting and cringeworthy manner, but from what I've seen, I think Effteling really nails this. If you look at Baron 1898, Efteling's absolutely gorgeous B&M dive coaster, you could see just how detailed the theming is at this park. Like a lot of these parks towards the bottom of this list, this is more of a theme park and less of a thrill park. But while I'm not sure there's so much here for me in terms of thrilling rides, it definitely seems like a worthwhile place to bring the family and take in all the sights. Coming in at number 9 is Europa Park in Rust, Germany. I've heard it said that this park is often considered a contender to take the title of best park in the world from Cedar Point. Based on what I've seen of it, it doesn't really seem like they're all that comparable. If anything, it seems more like something akin to a Disney park, but in any case, Europa Park looks like an incredible theme park to me. While definitely more of a family place, there are still a few thrill rides here, including Blue Fire, a mock rides launch coaster, Woden, a GCI wooden roller coaster, and Silver Star, a B&M hypercoaster. And yeah, it would be more interesting to me if they had more, but Europa Park really isn't about the thrills so much as it is about the whole experience. Or at least that's how it seems to me. This is definitely the kind of place I want to take my entire family and really just soak it all in. While I've heard people say Europa Park is the best themed park in the world, I've also heard people say the same thing about this next park. At number 8, we have Tokyo Disney Sea. Something you may notice here is so far, we've really just been talking about theme parks, and that's because I'm definitely more of a coaster kind of guy, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate a good theme park, and that's exactly what Disney Sea looks like it is. A great one, in fact. This is, bar none, one of the most impressive looking parks I think I have ever seen in my life. What Tokyo Disney Sea lacks in coasters, it looks like it more than makes up for in breathtaking views and immersive themed attractions the entire family can enjoy. Even not being the biggest Disney fan, this is unquestionably one of the places I hope to visit one day. Heading over to the UK for this one, at number 7, we have Thorpe Park in Surrey, England. Some people will definitely disagree with this park's inclusion on this list, but there's something about Thorpe Park that I really feel attracted to. For one thing, I really do enjoy the way they theme their attractions. A lot of these tend to have kind of a horror theme. They have Saw, obviously themed to the horror movie Saw. The Walking Dead, based on the comic series and TV show of the same name. Swarm isn't themed to any existing property as far as I know, but I really like the look of it. And as an enthusiast in the US, there really just isn't the same emphasis on theming around most of the thrill rides here outside of Universal and whatever passes for a thrill ride at Disney. And there's even less to find in the way of dark horror themes. And while that's not always my favorite, I think it's definitely pretty cool for something different, and has always stuck out for me about Thorpe Park. Wouldn't expect this to be the best park I've ever been to, but it's still a place I really hope to see someday. Staying in the United Kingdom now, at number 6, we have Alton Towers in Staffordshire, England. My heart has a soft spot for this park because, along with Thorpe, these are two of the first parks outside the US that I ever felt drawn to. Alton Towers is often considered the best park in the UK, and I can absolutely see why. Alton Towers actually gets its name from the 19th century castle ruins that are still on the property, which is just super cool. But aside from the general vibe and aesthetic of this place, it also has some great looking thrill rides. You've got the first ever B&M dive coaster in Oblivion, an early example of a B&M invert in Nemesis. This is also where the Smiler is, a Gerstlauer infinity coaster with an amazing theme and probably one of the best marketing campaigns for any coaster ever. I know a lot of people in the UK aren't super stoked on Wicker Man, but I do love a good GCI Woody, and this is definitely one of the coolest looking ones ever at the very least, and I'd really like to ride it, despite it being considered more of a family coaster. This is one of those parks I really want to make it a priority to get to someday. And taking up the number 5 slot, we have Port Aventura World in Catalonia, Spain. This is an interesting one because I've heard some great things about this park and it looks absolutely gorgeous, but I've also had some people tell me it's absolutely not worth the time and that they had a terrible experience at this park. In any case, the location of this park and just what I've seen of it makes me very much want to visit and see it for myself. While they don't have as many coasters as some of the other parks that will appear on this list, they do have 7, 5 of which are considered thrill rides. Of everything they have, the 2 I'd be most excited to try would be Shambhala, their B&M Hyper, I've often heard described as the best of its type in the world, and Furious Baco, their Intamin wing coaster. This place is right there on the coast. It looks like an incredible spot to spend a day or two, and so definitely earns its place on this list for me. Coming in at number 4, we have Fujiku Highland, located in Yamanashi, Japan. This is a park I feel like I just have to get to someday. Having Mount Fuji in the backdrop is pretty cool in its own right, but this park also has a really nice selection of coasters, with the highlights including Dodonpa, the fastest accelerating launch coaster in the world as of August 2020, as well as the S&S 4D coaster Egenaika, which is similar to X2 at Magic Mountain, but far superior and more insane by many accounts. Japan is a dream destination for me, which is a big part of why this park is on this list, and when I finally do end up going, you can bet one of my stops will absolutely be Fujiku Highland. Just real quick, if you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. It really does help my channel grow and is a small gesture that's very, very much appreciated. Let's get back to it. Getting into the top of the list here at number 3, we have Fantasia Land in Brühl, Germany. This looks to be one of those rare parks that combines immersive theming with some incredible thrill rides. Fantasia Land features Terran, an Intamin Blitz coaster, and probably one of the most popular coasters to photograph of the last few years because of how much detail went into the theming. It also looks like a fantastic ride in its own right and would certainly be the first thing I rush to upon entering this park. But Fantasia Land also includes Chapas, an Intamin log flume I've heard called the best of its kind in the world, Black Mamba, a B&M inverted coaster, and River Quest, a Hafima River Rapids ride that looks really interesting among many other attractions. Fantasia Land is a small park that looks like it packs in a lot. And And at number 2, we have Nagashima Spa Land in Kuwana, Japan. This park is sometimes called the Cedar Point of Japan and is also home to one of the 7 giga coasters in the world, Steel Dragon 2000. And like Fujiku Highland, this park is on this list partially at least because it's in Japan, a place I've wanted to visit my entire life, but Steel Dragon 2000 also has something to do with it. Despite the fact I've seen a lot of people say it's not the best ride, I do hope to have ridden all the gigas in the world at some point. And so getting to Nagashima Spa Land and riding Steel Dragon 2000 would have to be a part of that. Aside from having a giga coaster though, Nagashima Spa Land is also home to an incredible looking RMC conversion in Hakugae. This ride looks incredible, and I don't just mean aesthetically, although it is a beautiful structure. Not every park on this list has a coaster that would appear on my bucket list of roller coasters. Nagashima definitely does, because Hakugae is high up on that list for me. And for the top spots is one of the most exciting parks in the entire world right now as far as I'm concerned, Energylandia in Zator, Poland. This park is still very new, having only opened 6 years ago in 2014, and yet already boasts a roster of 15 coasters, with another 3 scheduled to open next year, according to RCDB, or Roller Coaster Database. This is the park that announced on Facebook they would be building a hypercoaster and then presented 2 concepts, one from Intamin and the other from Vekoma, and asked fans to vote for which one they would like to see built at the park. Now, they ended up going with the Intamin model and opened the ride as Hyperion in July of 2018. Then last year, Energylandia opened the new from-the-ground-up RMC Zadra to rave reviews. This coaster just looks insane, and I would jump at the chance to get on it. And even after all that, Energylandia doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. I think this is a place to keep your eye on for sure, and if it isn't there already, perhaps it deserves a spot on your bucket list as well. Alright folks, so that was it, the top 10 theme and amusement parks on my bucket list as of August 2020. What about you? What's the number 1 park on your bucket list? Was there anything on this list that you've been to and don't think it should be on there? Was there anything that absolutely blew your mind that isn't on this list and you think it should be? Let me know in the comments below. Perhaps you can save me some money on travel expenses and or keep me from missing out on something awesome in the future. In any case, folks, that all clear means I'm out of here. Thanks again for watching. Keep those hands up, and I'll see you all on the next one.